Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers. James and Justin back again with another reaction video. Now we are going to look at a new spiritual teacher today. His name is Nada. I just came across the title and it made me want to react to it. It was called How to Recognize Spiritual Bullshit. And just because it's been something that you and me have talked a little bit about recently, I wanted to hear what he had to say on it. So I haven't seen really any of this. I don't know anything about him. And we're just gonna, I think it'll just open for good conversation no matter what. So Anyway, we won't keep you guys waiting. Let's take a look.
Something I haven't really talked much about, though I've certainly been meaning to, is spiritual bullshit, or what you might call pseudo-spirituality, or something of that sort. And I think the reason I've put it off for so long is because there's so much bullshit in the spiritual culture that I hardly know where to begin. And if I talked about all the various examples, it would probably take hours just to cover it all. So instead, I thought I'd just talk about some of the basic indications rather than going into specifics. Because if you can simply understand these underlying characteristics, then this should be enough for one to be able to recognize the bullshit in any spiritual teaching, concept, or practice. So first of all, anything which appeals to or strengthens the ego. So any teaching or concept which instills in you, for example, the belief that there is something special about you which separates you from others and makes you therefore superior in some way. Remember that spirituality is very much about transcending ego, seeing through the illusion of the false separate self, realizing one's ultimate nature, which is the same in essence in all beings. So any teaching which reinforces that illusion of separateness or superiority is actually counterproductive. Now, what else appeals to the ego? All of these materialistic desires, the desire for wealth and fame, the desire for sense gratification, and sometimes these desires come in much more subtle forms, the desire to be loved and validated, the desire for specific life circumstances, for a romantic partner, the desire to achieve some goal, and so on. Now, what's wrong with any of that? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having money or enjoying some pleasurable experience or being in a relationship or achieving some goal in life. The problem is that we tend to think that these things will somehow fulfill us, that they will make us happy, that they will make us feel loved, that they will somehow give us a sense of peace and contentment. But they won't. All of that exists within us already. So to seek it outside of oneself is actually a distraction. It's drawing our attention away from the actual source of our happiness. It's not that there's anything wrong with any of these things in and of themselves, but if we think that we'll find fulfillment in these things, then this is where we're mistaken. And spirituality is trying to help us to see this, to recognize that all these things are ultimately unfulfilling, unsatisfactory, and that what we're ultimately seeking is within. So any teaching or concept or practice which is primarily aimed at helping you to obtain or acquire or achieve any of these materialistic goals is really distracting you from the real inner journey, distracting you from discovering peace and love and happiness within yourself. And all of this is very appealing to the ego, all of these materialistic desires. And what else is appealing to the ego? Comfort, to be comfortable. If there is one thing which is common among all people, it's that we all suffer, and because we suffer, we seek relief. We want to be comforted. We want to be reassured. We want to be relieved of our suffering. However, what most of us fail to realize is that our suffering is self-created. It's because of our own illusions, our own false beliefs, our own attachments, and so on, that we suffer. And in order to be free from suffering, we have to look at all of that. We have to look within and face our own illusions, our own darkness, our own fears and insecurity. And this is deeply unsettling, deeply uncomfortable. And so we would rather not look. Rather than face all of that, we would prefer to just be comforted. And there are many teachers who offer this kind of comfort. They offer you all kinds of reassurance that very soon everything will be just as you desire it to be. All your troubles will be over. Happiness is just around the corner. Everything's about to fall into place. Many teachers offer these kinds of empty promises, which give you the false hope that your life will change without you having to actually do anything to change it. Just wait and things will get better. And so this creates in us expectations which almost certainly go unfulfilled and lead to disappointment. Certainly it's comforting to imagine that everything's going to just magically change all on its own, and that all we need to do is have faith. But this is not really helpful. If anything, it's helping you to remain stuck right where you are, to postpone realization, to postpone contentment and inner peace. Because in order to discover that, you need to let go of expectations and attachments. You need to transcend your illusions. And you cannot transcend them as long as you're avoiding them. And this is what it really means to be comforted in this sense. It means to distract you from looking deeply into your own suffering by giving you some false hope to cling on to.
So far, I can't say I disagree with anything really that he's said. The thing that kind of came to mind was the mix of kind of personal development with spirituality, which I think kind of leads to some of the things that he's talking about. And then there was also the other side portion of this where I was I have so much I still need to work on, so much ego, so much of this stuff that he's talking about, because it's not easy to just let go of all your little material wants and needs, because we're selfish and want things. And
I love the idea of the enlightened master that's beyond being cringed out by stuff. Because imagine the wisest person, how many cringy mofos come before them. Because I even think about, I wanted to say something about, you ever encounter someone that's really excited about a new chapter of their life? And you're like, oh, you have no idea. The other side of excitement and jubilation is reality. Yeah. It's just the other shadow side of it. It's just the coin hasn't turned around yet. And that's not a threat. It's not anything. It's just how it is for the ego. It loves to get all excited and then dramatically sad and back and forth and and some people will attack you with a pen if you even point this out. They'll be like, don't interrupt my cycles. You'd be like, jeez, holy crap. All right, fine. This raise is going to change your life forever. And it'll be happily ever after. Yeah. And it's very pessimistic to go, there's a statement that's only stupid people are happy because smart people know all the things you're supposed to be miserable about. Sorry, but you don't win that one. Yeah. No, it takes intelligence to figure out to be happy. Anybody can be sad. Osho talked about that. And so, going by what you're saying, we were talking about cringiness sometimes on the road. Because I've been the person that, if this was even a year ago, I probably would have been so excited how wise this guy is, and acted excited, and then had a huge adrenaline dump after we were done filming and gone home sad on that drive. It doesn't have to be that way. I know the one that says, isn't that just how it is though? It doesn't have to be that way. And you don't have to be boring either. It's not the answer is monotony and I feel neither high nor low. I don't ultimately know. So in real time right now, me in a year from now will probably cringe at what I'm saying, because there's always, it seems like you can always blossom into more wisdom. Yeah. I agree with a lot of what this guy's saying, almost probably all of it, most of it. He seems to have a wise thing to say. Interesting to know more about him, scenery and his attire and everything.
This is just this one video we've looked at. So anyway, we'll continue on.
But because you don't actually do anything to resolve your suffering, you never become free of it, which means that you continue to suffer. And so you're continuously seeking comfort, which becomes addictive. You need constantly to be comforted and reassured. And so you become dependent upon these teachers to distract you from your suffering, instead of helping you to go into it and transcend it. So this is another thing to be watchful for. Teachers who seek to make you dependent upon them, who encourage your dependency. And there is one sure way to make someone dependent, and that is to inhibit them from becoming independent. A genuine teacher is trying to encourage you to become independent, to discover the answers within yourself, to realize these things for yourself, to awaken to who you are, to discover peace, love, and contentment within yourself so that you won't have to depend on anyone. And they're not constantly trying to comfort you. Most of the time, they're actually trying to provoke you to look at your own bullshit, your own illusions, to face your fear and insecurity, to look deeply into your suffering, because that's how you transcend it. If they're only offering you...
I know we were supposed to wait. We're supposed to, after this, we'll let it go all the end. But there's something so fascinating to me about the deep master, the master that's beyond the compassionate Mother Teresa, like, you know, trying to put out all the fires and just give some people some hope. The person that's so far beyond that they're actually trying to provoke you. Yeah. Let's get this out. Let's get your pride out. You know what I mean? They'll poke and prod you and humiliate you till you've realized you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're full of shit, and just let it go already.
Yeah.
And be whatever authentic is.
Yeah.
You know? Who knows what that is? But there's something fascinating to me about a master that's at that point. What he just said about they'll actually provoke you.
Yeah.
Because there's a sadistic version of that. There's like the, you know, whiplash drum coach teacher that like pisses you off so you'll try to earn their approval. I'm not talking about psychopathy. I'm talking about somebody out of love that sees that you're suffering. Your fake joy is suffering. Yeah. But I've come so far. You know, really? Well, then go scrub the bathroom floor with a toothbrush. Fuck this. You know, there you are. There you are. Yeah. Let's all have a good laugh.
Yeah.
You comfort and distractions, pleasant words and fanciful promises, or reliance upon them for all the answers. Then you will never have your own realizations, and you will always have to depend on them, which is very good for business, by the way, because it keeps you coming back again and again. So these are some of the basic things to be watchful for as indications of spiritual bullshit. And as I said at the beginning, there is so much bullshit in the spiritual culture, and much of it is extremely popular precisely because of everything I just mentioned. Because it appeals to ego, because it appeals to our materialistic and sensual desires, because it's comforting rather than transformative, because it doesn't require you to face your own darkness or require you to change. What is not very popular is facing your own discomfort, facing your fear and insecurity and so on. And this is why bullshit is so pervasive. Most people are not truly sincere in wanting to know the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Our illusions are familiar and comfortable. And so many people would prefer to remain in illusion or to delude themselves all the more. And this is no less true of those in the spiritual culture. There are many people in the spiritual culture who are deeply deluded. And of course, we turn to spirituality as a means of awakening from our illusions. But what I mean is that spirituality is often misused as a means of deluding oneself all the more, rather than as deliverance from illusion. And this is done with teachings and concepts and practices which are dressed up in spiritual language, but are really just ego-centered materialism. And rather than helping you to wake up, they keep you asleep by offering you the dream that you are awakening. So you get to pretend that you've overcome all your illusions. But this is also an illusion, because all you've done is learned how to repress everything, to bury it, and you mistake this repression for transcendence. And if you buy into that bullshit, it doesn't really get you anywhere. It just keeps you stuck right where you are, stuck in your suffering, stuck in your mechanical patterns. It inhibits you from realizing the truth. It inhibits you from genuinely growing and awakening. And if you want to remain in your illusions, where it's familiar and comfortable, or if you want to be deluded all the more, if you want to keep chasing your tail and never be truly fulfilled, never be truly happy or at peace, you're welcome to do that. It's your right. But if you want to be free, if you want to be happy, fulfilled, at peace within yourself, then you need to recognize the bullshit wherever it happens to be, especially in yourself. Learn to recognize your own bullshit, own it, face it, examine it, see through the illusions. That's how you transcend it. That's how you become free of it. Not by avoiding it, but by facing it head on and going through it.
Awaken Insights, that's the name of the YouTube channel.
Shout out to Nada.
Yeah.
This guy, new hitter on the scene. Oh, he's got a lot of subscribers. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a good stuff. Yeah, it's a bitter pill to swallow to say to oneself, I am full of shit. It's bitter. Because the thing about the identity, also liberating. And it comes in phases. I still find it in my own life when he was talking about the part about like how you run when you get afraid, or you've got you're faced with the fears and things that you got to go in deep and go try and face. It's very easy to not just run to a spiritual teacher, but run to your partner, run to your kids, run to your work, run to all your distractions, all the things that you can do to get out of actually doing your that phone, work. Yeah,
your phone. Another spiritual teach. One more spiritual teaching.
yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I think this hits on people that have done some work. Hopefully this pushes people over the line into a new way of thinking, because this is. Let's face it, some of this is pretty... I got to assume it's pretty advanced, because sometimes when I stuff like this, I'm like, we're going to be okay. Humanity's going to make it. We got people like this and doing well.
Yeah.
But, the planet is far and wide. I've been reading, or I've been audio listening to, for a third time, Osho's book, Doko Dang.
Yeah.
Or Dang, Doko Dang, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's an Osho book, and at one point he talks about, like, some people don't even realize the hell they're in. Like, it's one thing to finally get to the point where you're like, holy, I'm in hell. But some people you couldn't, you know what I mean? And who knows what kind of life they're leading. They might live a busy, full life, lots going on. And it's not that they would, when they look at you, you should just believe them. They go, I'm happy. Yeah. It's like, ultimately it's fine. Don't pester someone that's not admitting that they're in hell. But I think you might even agree on this. Sometimes when you get into it, when you're like, it's bad enough that you start looking inward, and then you realize, it's like there's very uncomfortable going on. I didn't even realize it.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even realize that's what I was doing, was filling my life with distraction.
Yeah.
And now I got to deal with this that I just have been distracting away for years.
Yeah.
And now it's
you can even do it with the practice that's supposed to be pointing to you to the thing. That you can do it with meditation. You can play games with your meditation, man. Mm-hmm. You can play games with all of it, and it can all become just a big distraction.
Yeah.
But
I feel like in the nick of time, oftentimes you get a little something. You get a little bit of something that keeps you going, okay, there's something there.
Yeah.
Keep going.
There's levels to it, and to me, if I feel like it just keeps going deeper and deeper. But anyway, I think we said enough on this one. Awaken Insight, that's the name of your YouTube channel. Nada was speaking there. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you liked our reaction on this, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone until next time, stay spiritual.